You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn. You're listening to Santos Bonacci live on Syncretism, here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. As above and so below is the holy science you need to know, astrotheology. Because now, it's our turn.
Good evening, welcome to Outside the Box, Syncretism Outside the Box. Kind of the same thing anyway, right? Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, joined by Santos Bonacci, of course. Chris couldn't do the show tonight. He's going through a bit of a detox and is not feeling 100% right now, so asked me earlier if I'd sit in. I said, well, yeah. I'm kind of doing that anyway, so it's all good. Excuse me, that being said, we had a bit of rambunctious fun last night, a whole lot of astrotheology, a whole lot of calling it out for what I see as being anyway. And, yeah, we'll touch on that for sure tonight. I was really curious, Santo. You've been reading that the language crystal. And I was hoping maybe if you're into it, just a little bit more feedback on it, because for me, this whole universe is sound, and the more we can understand sound and the creations of words and symbols that create an effect, et cetera, as far as I'm concerned, the more capable people are going to be to really start seeing what's going on, and it will open up their universes to a level that they're heretofore not really have been aware of. I'm encountering that myself, and of course many people that I talk to throughout the course of the day are really getting it as well, and it's so nice to be able to converse at this level where people are going, yeah, I see the magic, and isn't it cool, So do you be into, maybe we can do a little bit of talking about that tonight?
Yeah, yep, for sure.
Yeah,
yep.
Because apparently people are still having a bit of trouble getting the book. I got to tell you, man, as soon as you mentioned it the other night, there wasn't one to be found in the next day or so. Yeah.
I'm pretty lucky to have gotten the last one. I jumped on that real quick because I realised if Bill appreciates it as one of his best, probably his best, I think that's what I heard. That's what put me onto it. I heard that, and it is fantastic. It really carries the theme of the letter R and L throughout the whole book, and ties in a lot of other great numerological information of the 80s, of Ronald Reagan's era, and Carter and all of that, and some of the amazing numbers that he comes up with. Ronald Reagan's number was 666. In fact, his name, Ronald, I think it's Wilson Reagan, all three of his names have 6 letters in it, and no other president in U.S. history had 666 in their name. And he brought out that during his reign, everything was pretty much based around that number 666. In fact, the day he was elected, someone won the lotto, and the numbers were 666, and it was tied in with the luck of the presidency of Ronald Reagan. And from then on, all through the 8 years, Reagan, there was 666 just turned up everywhere. For instance, they might have had a windfall of surplus, and it would have been $6,666 dollars of surplus. Deficit would have been $6.66 billion. And all throughout the Reagan period, there was those numbers. And then he goes into the number 18, how that turns up everywhere, and that's, of course, the 18th letter, the letter R of the alphabet, and L is the 12th. So we have Jesus turning up in the temple at 12, and then he disappears for 18 years. Well, that's L and R. And the reason why, these letters are so special is because they are they are from the tip of the tongue, you see, and we use them when we say rrr in Italian. That's the R, the letter R. It's rolled in Italian. And so it's the tip of the tongue. And if you don't have a good, if your tongue is not very mercurial, I'm very fortunate to have a great mercurial tongue. What happens when you do is that when you speak other languages, your accent is pretty clean. Whereas some people, when they speak other languages, I don't know why, but I have the natural gift to be able to have the accent as well as the grammar, right? But others, and I'm talking geniuses who speak many languages, they don't have that particular gift. And so they will have a very strong accent. Though they may speak the language very, very well, the accent is always there. Well, these are all separate gifts, and some people have the whole collection of them, others don't. So when you're rolling your R and your L, you'll find that L comes off the very tip of your tongue. L, liquid. They are liquids. And so these two are the most poignant, creative sounds, L is lumen and lux. It's all about light. But it's at one time it's internal light, and at another time it's radiating light. And Ra is the same, At one time he's external, and other times he is internal light. But their main archetypes are Ra is radiating, and L is illuminating, you see. So they are different kinds of light. Ra is the ram, and L is the lamb. There's the ram and the lamb, according to Lawrence William Lyons, the writer of the book.
Yeah.
And lamb is in Capricorn, earth. And ram is in Aries, fire. We're talking about carbon and nitrogen. We're talking about the sheep and the goats. We're talking about the ram and the lamb. And this is how it works. If you're looking at your chakra system, lamb is at the bottom. It's the earth chakra. Van is the water chakra, the navel chakra, the second. Gaia chakra is the solar plexus. That's Ran. Then the heart chakra is the air chakra. That is Yan. Let me just make sure I've got this right. I'm going to have to consult my little book.
Yeah, no problem. That's
because I know people are writing this down. I do not want them to make a mistake. Bottom chakra is Lan, earth. Second chakra is Van, water. Third chakra is Ran, fire. Fourth chakra is Yan with a Y, Y-A-N, Yan, and that is air. And the fifth chakra is ether, and that is Han, H-A-N. The sixth chakra, the pineal gland, is Om, O-N. So you've got Lam, Van, Ran, Yan, Han, Om. And the seventh chakra has no name. It has no name. And that's why when we go to Revelation, the first seal, there are 7 seals, and the Lamb opens the first seal, of course, because it's the first chakra, the earth Lamb chakra. And of course, when he gets to the 7th seal and opens the 7th seal, there is silence in heaven, because there's no sound. The 7th chakra has no sound. The pineal gland is the Om chakra. That's why the Hindus always depict it with the Om symbol. And then the other 5 elements are the 5 chakras below. And the predominant ones are Ram, fire, and Lam, earth. Because fire is motion and earth is rest, according to Plutarch. And so there is motion and rest in the universe. Ram ignites nitrogen, ignitrogenerator. And Lam is the carbon, Cabra, carbon, anagrams for each other, carbon-12 crystal that nitrogen ignites. And so carbon is the signature of the universe, carbon 12. And that is the Lamb of God. And it's interesting that Mars, backwards for Ran, Mar and Ran, is the exalter of Capricorn. So the Lamb Mars exalts astrologically in the sign of Capricorn, which is the Cabra carbon Lamb. So the connections are thick. They're very, very thick. This Temple of Solomon, if you took one I or a T out of it, the whole structure would fall. There is nothing out of place in this temple. I've proven this. I've proven it over and over again in my presentations. The secret of the universe lies in the wave. You draw the wave, which turns out to be the ecliptic, of course. You must understand that the ecliptic is just one of those waves. It's just one of the fractals of every single holographic toroidal wave in existence. Therefore, we attach ourselves to it, and we write Gospels, and Virgil wrote the fourth Eclode based on it, and the Ennead, and he wrote, and Ovid wrote the Metamorphoses based on the ecliptic. Whether they taught the ecliptic as I do, there's no evidence of it, but whether they did or they didn't matters not. What they were teaching was the ecliptic, and they always started their stories where you ought to. If you're doing a philosopher's the Philosopher's Stone, and you're speaking about how to transmute lead into gold, you will start in Cabra, Carbon, Saturnian, Martian, Earth, Cardinal Earth, Capricorn. At cosine. Cosine would be the other function of sine, and the sine wave will begin in Aries. So this is why you've got the sheep and the goats. Because we're talking about physics. Aries always begins at sine wave, 0 degrees, right ascension of meridian, starts everything off in that sense because light emanates from from nitrogen, whereas carbon is the opposite, totally opposite of nitrogen in the sense that it is purely an element of rest in the universe. Everything rests in carbon, matter, earth. It's all about rest. And the Lord rested on the seventh day. That would be the seventh chakra, because it is rest. And so Aries igniting Agnes, the Lamb of God. You see, this is why you have every ruler of every church is a lamb, Why do you have a Dalai Lama? Why do you have the Lamb of God, Jesus? Why is Muhammad? Why does that mean the Lamb of God? The name Muhammad and his other names that he was given. Why is Brahma the chief god of the universe, according to the Hindus, the Ram? And his firstborn is Agnes. And why does the Rig Veda mention Agnes 7 times in the opening words? Why does the Genesis open with the words Bereshit bara Elohim, which represents the Lamb 4 times? Why does the Quran, the book about the Ram, open with Bismillah al-Rahman al-Rahim, 6 times mentioning the Lamb, 4 times the Lamb and twice the Ram? Because we're talking about the ecliptic, the sine wave, because that's where the secret of the universe lies. You're looking elsewhere? Well, you're going to be looking forever. You're going to be chasing the wind. It's all in the Lam, Vam, Ram, Yan, Ham, Om. And the no-name, Ein Sof, Anama, Prime Creator. Prime is also indicative of what's truly going on. Prime, principles, everything that's prime is one. It's the first. It's the one, a principle. You see, all things, all truth, all law is based in principles. because they are the first ones. They're first in line. That's where all truth emanates, from one source, from one point of truth. Truth cannot be divided. Lies can. Divide and conquer can. And that's why Rome benefits from that. Oh, yeah, they like to divide and conquer people. For sure. First of all, they give you a birth certificate, a death certificate, and divide you from the rest because you have a title now, separate, a name, which is backwards for, look at the word name, and it's backwards for man. Why would you be backwards? It's not even, it's energy man. E-M-A-N is the spelling of name backwards. Energy man. But no one wants to be an energy man. They would rather be a name. And, they'll go and pay obeisance to they'll go and, quote unquote, defend their country, in wars and go and kill other souls because of that name. Because that's their obligations as a civil, responsible citizen of the United States, which is just a paper corporation. Wow, what a noble way to die. Go and die for some paper, because the paper said something. But if you open your ears, you won't hear any voice coming from paper. As you mentioned yesterday, Kate, what did the summons say? Well, nothing, because it can't speak.
Yeah, you have to respawn it, re-give it life, response, right? That's to response, which is to do again, spawn, give life, say, creation. Even as you're talking, you've got the mirror. When you put name backwards, you have E-man. You can call it, E, the mirror of consciousness, the 9. Man, and E before word means no man, so it's actually to me if you are a name, you are the atom, the man, whereas when you reverse that, that's when you have your no man, that's no man's land. And to me, that's just fully representative of the spirit. So you will either be a physical, literal meat stick, or you will be consciousness. And it boggles my imagination. It really does, because I get asked countless times about, how do I do this if I don't have this, and I don't have a name, and I don't have a passport, or this, that, and the other. And the only answer, and I deal a lot in the whole Occam's razor, where the simplest answer is generally the true answer. And the simple truth of the matter, and you covered it just right there, Santa, with this whole divide and conquer. You're going to be of this country, you're going to have this flag, you're going to have this political stripe, this religious stripe. Look at all of the different things that have been we've put into this game to divide us from consciousness itself. And what a noble way to commit suicide. That's not dying. If you sign up for an army, you're saying that it's okay that you die. So that's actually a suicidal act. The thing is, the game for me is simple. Here's Occam's razor. If people ask me about, how do I get to do this with no ID and that and the other, take the whole damn thing down. Once you get rid of Babylon. See, this is the thing. People only begin to see how trapped they are when they start seeing what it feels like to start removing all of the controls of these little pieces of paper, this little legality stuff. And I said it last night, I'll say it again. Legality is not reality. And the longer you buy into it, the longer the barriers stand for you. That's your choice. I just chose to not have any. And people say, well, you can't do that. I do whatever I want to do. No, it's not an easy way to live. But I'll tell you this right now, I am not party to in any sort of spiritual contract with any of this nonsense. And as you guys know, I'm on the air fairly regular, completely dispelling it. One of the things that I mentioned last night, I actually did a little writing thing on it. Let me see. It was on Skype. It's only a paragraph that covers this whole notion of spelling. And a lot of times people you really here. I'll just read this because I think I pretty much nailed it. Okay, my game is to remove the hypnotist's ability to own your mind by shoving illusional kangaroos in it. Play or not, your call, your soul. It's the same as writing meat stick, as you normally see it, where I'm spelling it back to its original no-effect gibberish. I just wrote a bunch of letters like HRXQPTSH, like total. You look at it and it's not a word, so there's no spell in it. So understand that. Now remember what it was like before you could read? It's the same as looking at Japanese characters that are unreadable, thus have no emotional response to those that cannot read those characters. To those, it's just gibberish. If you got something like that in the mail, what would you do with it? Yeah, toss it in the garbage because it cannot be read and therefore has no spelling ability for you to create from or to be at effect. Best not to literate, after all, as in eat the litter. So, for me, it's about dispelling the language as it has been portrayed, like looking at Russian characters or Arabic characters. To those that are raised with that particular sigil forming, it can create an effect on them. But to me, if you look at every language, all the sigils, it's just squiggles of lines that you have been made to believe are words. And they're not. They're just squiggles on a piece of paper, And again, they can be used for good and evil. If you write all sorts of what we would deem to be nasty things translated into sound, then you can inflict some mental damage on people, or you can write a joke and somebody laugh. So it's all right down to the intent. So for me, I had to break the original intent of the sigils to control the mind. And there's still so many people that don't get it to this level, that are still thinking in a very, very literal way. When you get there, you'll see it. You'll understand exactly what I've been talking about for quite a while. It's the program.
And it's unfortunate for them. What gets me frustrated, and I know it gets you frustrated, Kate, is when people pretend to get it and they don't. That's where, or put themselves out there as teachers and they truly don't get it and are the blind leading the blind. That's about it. But as for the masses that are not getting it, well, too much lamb, I would say, too much of the earthly focus, and their evolution or their love backwards is not developed. Develop also has love in it. And I pointed out that the word enlightenment has the word 18 in it without changing any of the arrangement of the letters. You just delete a few from the word enlightenment and you end up with the word 18. I'm going to get back to that in a minute because the numbers 108, 18, and 666 and 144 were all part of Reagan's administration. And the way this guy brings it out, I would so love for you to get this book, Kate. This is just an orgasmic book. I'm up to page 4. I'm nearly finished now. I don't know how I managed to read it either because I've been so freaking busy, but I'm up to 442. It's 500-pager, so it's a massive book. But and I've got so many treasures to bring out of here. It's truly incredible. One of the things that I realised, I've already known this anyway, that the word bail means husbandly owner. So when you pay bail, you are paying to someone who has been married to you via the birth certificate, and they are pretending to be husbandly owners. The bar ends with an R, which is interchangeable with an L. Both liquids, both the same things, archetypes of the same light. But the bar is the Baal, the bull, the husbandly owner. And, it's quite interesting that that it turns up everywhere, this husbandly owner. And the word Bar, of course, I did this the other day, it means son, like Bar Jonas, the son of Jonas, Peter. That was his nickname, or that was what he was. He was Simon Peter Bar Jonas. So the son of. You see, and that's why they want you to be a person in court. Don't you go in as a sovereign being of light, or a living flesh, blood man or woman. Go in as a person, as a bar member, because they're all sons, bar members. They have their bar card, barbarian, backwards for rabies, because they are the wolves. Rabies, you see, has to do with wolves. And ram, they are the wolves in sheep's covering. That's why they dress with their headdress appropriately. It's got wool in it, and it looks like a sheep, and they are dressed black as wolves in sheep's coverings. You know, and they want you to be a person per bar, put it that way, and have some substance instead of essence. That's why they want you to understand. Substance. For sure. Go in there as a sacrificial lamb of substance. That's why you'll be sacrificed. But what you need to do is go in as ram and ram it up their backsides. The sovereignty, you know, with the ram's horn. You can't get a lamb's horn. No such thing. Lambs ain't worthy of ram.
They're not mature enough.
Exactly. So ram it up them with fire, and don't be a sacrificial lamb of substance, understanding them. No, you need to overstand them. That's why you have a rampart. So you can ram it up and smash them to pieces. Like you said, Kate, how do we go without this name and that name, and just bring the system freaking down?
All of it.
Bring it down. All of it. It's all Babylonian filth. It's putrid to the core. And we don't need to go there because we've got too much beautiful stuff to talk about. It's putrid. We know that. But
yeah. Well, here, just a little analogy for the system. If you think of the cesspool, the tax pool, that's what the system is. Cess is tax. When you think of it as a cesspool that is riddled with poison, if you drink it that well at all, doesn't matter how little or how much, it's going to kill you. Best to avoid the pool altogether. And that's all I do is I don't partake and separate myself completely from it. It's a spiritual contract, and that's the part I think most people, people at this table get it, but the vast majority don't understand the nature of this game. This is not a physical game. You talked to her about sine and cosine. Well, I see psi n, which is spirit mind, and co spirit mind, and those are your two interlacing serpents. And for me, the game is to get both the sine and the cosine vibrating together to create a single wave, right? So that's where you become the spirit mind as part of the co-spirit mind. And that's this duality, to bring it all together into a singularity again. And you spoke of the seventh chakra being silent. That to me is the silence of meditation, where silence is golden, and that's where you get the real gems, the real truths. That's where I hang out.
Yeah. Below that is Om, that's why we Om, and below that is Ham, that's why we hum. That's the throat chakra, the ether. So lamb is at the bottom, being sacrificed. You see, this is why Abraham sacrificed a ram, but before that he was going to sacrifice Isaac. I sacrifice.
Yeah.
So Abraham, the ram, and you notice his name was changed from Abraham to Abraham, because Ham is the throat chakra. So he got to, get to the throat chakra. But Isaac, meaning I sacrifice or I make sacred. So why would Abraham sacrifice the ram? You see, because sacrifice has to do with sacred, and we need to make these I am elements. We need to make them sacred, because all of those elements come under the umbrella of I am. That's why God says I am to Moses. He doesn't say, oh, my name's Jehovah, or it's this and that, or Jesus. I am. That should suffice. It tells the story. I am in Hebrew is water, and it's all of the waters: the ether, Ham, the fire, Ram, the water, Van, the earth, Lam, and the ether, the air, Yan. So it's that's what the I am means.
Yeah, it's like you said about Isaac, the I sacrifice. Let's throw a few more layers in there. You have the is of the Isis, is, so creation. You have the A, which is the mirror of the hex, 6, and AC, alternating current. So Isaac, to be sacrificed is give up the creation of the hex of the alternating current. So again, that's another form of sacrifice, another layer that needs to, for me, it just needs to keep getting peeled. Because the more layers we peel on this is one of the joys of sitting at this table, because this is what we do. We dissect, and there's that oh yeah, it's all over the place. The sounds for me are the key to everything, and isn't it funny and coincidental that we said the same thing in two different ways from completely different vantage points, using the same word.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you'll find that there will be others doing it too. Bill Donahue has been doing it for 40 years. Jordan Maxwell's been doing it for 40 years. And we're just pretty much students of these greats. And I've always said one attack that I cannot stand is when ignoramuses think that I'm, trying to make out that syncretism's new, or anything that I teach is new. Well, it's only new in the sense that we've awakened to it, and it's new to us. But it's old, it's ancient. It is. It always is. This wisdom, this knowledge. You can't invent it. The Egyptians didn't invent scholars.
Yeah, that's why it is new. KNEW.
Yeah, exactly. Gnosis. Based on the Greek word to know.
Yeah, there's nothing new under the sun, and there's everything new under the sun. Depends on which version of the word you use.
Absolutely. And that's what's going on. But, the like an attack of such small substance is just ridiculous, when everything I'm speaking about is absolutely ancient. And there's plenty of records to indicate that. But in the we've got Iamblichus saying that the Egyptians have 500,000 years of astrological records. Of course, the Romans put an end to that eventually. This information. But there are places on the planet where great wisdom has been stored perpetually. And of course we will have access to this in the near future. But the thing is, we already have access to all the knowledge that we have, which is by remembering. All the members are being joined together now, and the ultimate truth that we are experiencing is that the ecliptic holds all of the secrets of that particular fractal. Is the fractal that all of the Bibles, the Ennead, the Mahabharata, the Zendavesta, they're all based on the ecliptic, in a more conscious period of history when it was just natural to sing the gospel of the ecliptic. Everyone sang gospels. Song is gnosis, backwards. Well, gospel is the goat spell, the tragudi in Greek, which means the ode of the goat. And so when you went to a tragedy, which is ripped off the word tragudi, which means gospel, goat spell or ode of the goat, we are true singers, knowers, because we sing gnosis backwards, a song, and we tell forth our knowledge, which not necessarily is wisdom, because knowledge puffs up, but love doesn't. Whereas, so what this means is that we need to balance moderately all of the gifts and attributes and talents and treasures that we have, and be level about it, not be over the top. You see, people who are over top, they sound very intellectual, and they want to. You can tell that they're concerned about political correctness and correctness and all that bullshit. And that is the trap they fall into themselves. They do it to themselves.
Yeah, I know lots of incredibly knowledgeable people with not a speck of wisdom. They're very knowledgeable in the literal. They can speak within the matrix perfectly, and if one is delving and staying in the matrix, they sound very intelligent. But there's not an ounce of wisdom involved in it, and wisdom comes from the intuitive. Wisdom is not intellectual at all. It is that gut feeling, that sudden aha realization, which you don't get with knowledge, per se. What you do get with wisdom is the ability to climb the ledges of knowledge. That's what the no ledge is, right? And also, when you have no ledge, it means you've stepped out. You have taken that leap of faith, and that is the completely ethereal letting go. You see, that what I find with a lot of people is, and I've heard it too many times, people will claim, well, I haven't got this and I haven't got that, in terms of ego or emotional attachment and all the rest of it. And sorry, I've had them, and I can look at what I've experienced myself and see it in others. Those are not judgments; they're observations of contrast between, my perspective and how I see something being portrayed outside of me. Looking at something is merely observation. Looking at something and getting polarized into one thing or the other, an opinion, or getting an emotional response, that's not neutral. That's got a justifier attached to it. It's got something that is keeping people fixated on needing to be right. I don't need to be right. I just need to find truth. And you were speaking earlier of the right and the left, right? There's your the red and the blue light, the red and the blue pill. I mean, you see all these show up in different forms. I love it how it shows up in movies. Making choices between, I think, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. It was a choice between two rentals. One was a red car, one was a blue car. You had the red pill, blue pill in the Matrix. You got the red light, blue light on a cop car, and all the rest of. I mean, these are, to me, all allegorical clues, all relating to the magnetic electric, the me, and bringing all of those things into balance to get the cosine and the sine working in unison to bring our own ecliptics into balance. I think it would probably be fairly safe to say that the last age, the golden age of Aries, the time of Egypt, when it got taken over by this whole thought and spelling process, by the Phi Rose, the sacred creation spirit breaths, right? And when we give our power outside of that, and it goes right back to this whole concept of giving your power away to electrify or elect someone outside of you with a volt, the L silent in the way we say it, vote. When you vote to elect something outside of you, you are giving up your free will choice to make your own choice. You have agreed into a belief system or a structure of a leader that's going to do your thinking for you. If you are doing that, then you have no right to complain, no right to bitch, because you are not grown up enough to say, no, I'm going to make my own choices and be fully responsible for those choices. So you can give it up to the Phi Rose if you want. What you're doing is giving up your sacred geometric golden mean creation, Phi, Rose. There's that rolling R again. Spirit breath. So, to me, that is a huge allegory that encompasses, again, Occam's razor. For me, I have to bring it down to the simplest form that does not have any conjecture. No opinion is required. So for me, this game that we're playing here is simply a contrast between being all consciousness and knowing, because we knew that, and playing a game of not God. So we're playing the contrast of all and what it feels like to not be all, and figuring our way back to being that. Because there is no game if you know the outcome. All is all. All knows all things. All creation is established. It is in the mind of the all. That's the game grid. And we are points of consciousness playing through this video game, all at different levels. It keeps it interesting. The Mayans played that one out very well. On a road of each one of us climbing our own Jacob's ladders and shifting the timeline. So what you'll find happening as you shift, and you'll see your confirmation points, like go back to the crown bar shuts down. To me, that was a confirmation of an intent put into the movie, and that is the foreshadowing of it happening. So I look for these foreshadowing confirmations. There was one the other day of a mega yacht crashing into a lighthouse. Now, allegorically, a ship is a mind. So the system's megalithic mind has literally been blinded by our lighthouses, and their mind has crashed ashore. Their ship is sunk. So that, to me, is a confirmation of the foreshadowing of things to come that we are moving towards in our timelines, that we are choosing willfully now. This is not about manifestation. You do not manifest anything. It's already manifest. What you do in free will choice is choose which point of manifestation you want to experience. Is not Capricorn the sign of I experience? Is not Capricorn the sign of the Christ? Just a few thoughts.
Yeah. Lovely. Light. R and L. You'll find R and L turn up in many words. Flare. That's R and L. Glare. That's the G followed by R and L. And one is a flare, which is a sudden spreading outward of fire or light. Your flare is what you do with flare, you know.
Light it up.
A feeling for creation. Yeah, and glare is bright light at right angles to light. And so you see the function of F, fire, flare, and G, gravity, glare. And so going back to like the ram, if you want to be a sovereign, you must be a ram, not a lamb, because then you will be in your realm. Have a look at the word realm, and if it's not ram with an E, with a
L right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
R-E-A-L-M. So there you've got the ram being completely working with the L contained within it, right?
Exactly. It's the realm. So all you do is you add an L. You see, L is the lamb, the earthly, and you have a realm, the ram in his realm. So this is why, and the other thing is in Hebrew, bira, which is very similar to bra, ba, but bira, we always said that bara means to create. You know, abara kadabara means to create through spoken sound. But bira, which is related to it, means capital city. The capital city. Any wonder that they've called Rome, the capital city of the world. You know, capitalized L. And so bira, capital city, and then if you put an L on the end of it, bila means to survive or destroy. Well, that's what the L light does. it destroys, but makes through death, of course. Destroy means like Shiva, he destroys, but then you survive. You survive the death. That's what death and transformation is all about. So you see Ra, again, playing with La, Bida and Bila. In the Hebrew language, that's in Hebrew. So Bida or Bada, both of those verbs, capital city, and the verb, to create, and the noun Bida, capital city, are related. And this is the crystalline city that John saw in Revelation, with the Lamb of God in there, and the river flowing through from the foot of the city, and the 12 trees with the 12 leaves of healing in Revelation. And that's all coming from Aries, the New Jerusalem, and Jerusalem is USA flanked by an R and an L. And it contains the word Jew, and it contains the word Muslim, Jerusalem, in it.
Yeah, and of course Salem, and the witches. Keep going. It all connects.
Yeah, and the USA is the archetype of the New Jerusalem. Just read Manly Hall, and you will know that there were some good individuals in history who did see America as the place where there would be a proper, fair government and republic, because that's what consciousness wanted in that time. We wanted that at that time because we thought that was the ideal. And that's why USA is hiding in the word Jerusalem. But the New Jerusalem is in your head. Heaven, head.
Yeah, one more. I want to touch on something there as well, just to tie a bit more of this together. When you look at, say, the typical computer, you have a random access memory and a read-only memory, which is your RAM and your ROM. Now, the RAM can be controlled if the ROM is controlled, because there's the information. If I can control the read-only memory on your computer, I can get you to pick and choose whatever I want onto your RAM, and I guarantee your computer's not going to be working very well if I have malevolent intent. So when you look at ROM, the read-only memory as being the right brain, the right hemisphere, or the divine feminine, the chaos in which all things are manifest that we can put our seeds into in terms of picking timelines, there's Rome. There's Rome. So that's why they call it Mother Church. Because if you give up your intent and your spiritual contract to Rome, what you're actually giving up is your complete ability to create from the divine feminine side, and then that read-only memory, because you've given it up, they will give you only what they want to give you to put onto your random access memory that you live with day to day, your left brain analytical. So if you're getting constant garbage out of the read-only memory, Rome that you've given think of Rome as your computer tech that has likes playing lots of jokes on you. If you've given that up to that tech, they can put on to your RAM whatever you want. And gee, I wonder why the programs are going schizoid. So I like to bring all the different levels and the allegories together so that people can get an understanding that everything is absolutely and completely connected synchronistically. There is no separation at all here. I can show you math, in English, in religion, in astrotheology, in everything. All things in all things. I do believe that is a Hermetic principle, is it not?
Absolutely. As without, so within. As above, so below. It's the universal law. It's holographic, and it all obeys the order or chaos of the ecliptic along the toroidal fields that produce polarized, illusory reality.
Yeah.
Look at reality. If you want to be real, you need to have R and L in balance.
Yeah, your ability to control and manipulate your own reality is dependent solely upon how much of your reality you're giving away and accepting the control of others. How would I put this? How can anyone expect to get outside the box if they're still choosing the tools from within it? You can't. When you understand that your read-only memory has been overrun by consent, that's the game, though, and I don't want people getting angry at this. This is why the only thing that frustrates me is especially when it's incredibly intelligent people, to their misfortune, overanalyze this stuff, and they're trying to create. I know I've done it. This is why. I mean, I'm talking to myself here. I've been through this. I'm rather intellectually bright. I get it. I'm used to being able to play Trivial Pursuit, and everyone wants me to play with them on their team, right? Why? Because I can retain a lot of information. I threw it all away. And it's all there if I need it, but to me it's just, I use it more for allegorical describing than anything else now. But if you've given up control of your very creation, your right brain, your ROM, your read-only memory, don't expect to be able to shift your timelines, because you're not working with your information. You're working with a contrived drip-by-drip information level, so you're working really limited here until you let go of that. And that, to me, is the game. This is the game of not being God, to try to figure our way back. And if you think it's going to be easy, don't forget, you're God. This is an infinite game. I wouldn't make it simple. We'd be ending the game too quick all the time. So we've created something masterful here with all sorts of infinite potentials, all sorts of infinite possibilities that are already created. The way to manifest that is to simply stop buying into the beliefs, to stop buying into the literals, and start getting outside of that box and seeing the anagogic. And that's the one above allegorical. Here, it's a good example of what I'm talking about. Very simple one. We've used this many times. I'll take it to the next level, though. You're familiar with the term shooting the bull, right? So literal, you take that fully literal, like most fundamentalist religious types, they'll be grabbing a gun from their truck and going out and shooting a cow with horns, okay? That is the absolute literal. Someone doesn't speak English, never heard it, they would, and just learning it, they would take that literally and wonder, what's wrong with these people wanting to go kill cows? But what it's really saying is, allegorically, for those in the Western world that use it, let's go shoot the bull for a while. What you're saying is, I want to go and have a talk. Okay, well, how the hell do you relate shooting the bull with going to have a conversation? Well, then you got to get anagogic on it. Then you got to see the bigger picture. When you're shooting something, as in a movie or shooting a rifle or whatever the case may be, we are shooting a movie, what you're doing is you're projecting something. You're shooting something out. With intent, you're pushing it out. So you have shooting, the act of putting something out, the God, right? Theos. So you're putting out God through the Taurus, the bull. So what you're doing is you're creating into the toroidal field with your voice. So shooting the bull anagogically makes total sense. So it's taking it from the literal into allegorical to the anagogic back to the literal, and it works. This, for me, is the path of choosing manifestation. I see the foreshadowing in my movie because I don't take anything literal. I take it only as it applies to me on my life path, my purpose. My purpose is to take down the game, Babylon. That's the crown, that's the bar, that's all of it. So when I see something literally like the crown bar shuts down, that for other people means, well, we've got no more drink and have a pint anymore. But to me, in my life purpose, I see it as a confirmation of a foreshadow of what is already coming. The crown bar shuts down. For me, that's a foreshadowing of a foregone conclusion. That's how you shift timelines. You see what you're manifesting, see the confirmations, understand that it is you that is creating that reality. You're not creating anything but your own reality, right? Everything is already manifest. So this is how to shift realities. And if you keep buying into the lie all the time, well, you get a lot more of the the $5 off DVD stampedes at Walmart. It's that simple.
Yep.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I don't think it was complicated. I'm really trying my best. Like, I got to tell you, like I said last night, if I'm getting frustrated with things getting posted on my pages, that's a shared responsibility, because I'm not making it clear enough for people to understand that anything and all things legal are all things system. You're playing in the cesspool. It will poison and drown you. Stop. If you want to solve this, then stop. But don't get all left brain about it, okay? Don't start, I'm going to write this script of what if, and what if, and what if. And the next thing you know is F is an S, so you're saying what is, and what is, and what is, and all this shit starts to enter into your reality. It stagnates you and holds you on that timeline. End of story. We got made manifest in here again, by the way, so there you go. Carry on, Santo.
Well, one way of not...
Oh, you went quiet there. Something happened with your mic, Santo. You there? Santo, your mic is disconnected. I cannot hear you. Oh, did I lose him? I hope I didn't lose him. 1 second. Let me check. Are you there?
What about now?
Oh, there you are. Yeah, you could hear this little squeaky sort of, almost sounds like Santo way, way off in the valley somewhere. But there you are. You're back. Thank you.
That's not good. I think it might be a USB connection in one of my... I've got a couple of USB cords. Yeah.
Yeah,
useless.
Just give them what I do is I just crimp them down a little bit. You've got the solid part in the bottom and the hollow top. I just crimp the metal down just a little bit to give it a squeeze.
I've done all of that.
Oh, yeah?
They're just useless. They really are. It's disgusting how that happens. You can't get a long cord, so you can't walk around or anything. Anyway, one sure way, Kate, to entrap us, I've pointed this out before, but Lawrence William Lyons also does here in the book on page 268. I've pointed out that monotheism, money, monarchies, monopoly, all of that mono words are the detriment of mankind. First and foremostly monotheism. He says monotheism, monogamy, and money were invented to focus the body, mind, and spirit of man, a social unit. Through his monogamy, body, his money, mind, monotheism, spirit, you would own him entirely. So there's the unholy trinity. It's well, I'm not suggesting monogamy. I mean, as in get a theocratic registered marriage certificate. Blah blah blah. I'm not suggesting that in a literal sense he's talking about. Of course, it's controlling the monotheistic religions. Monotheism, theism is dealing with the God or the spirit in you, the ram in you, the fire. Spirit, pir is fire, so it's hiding in the word spirit. It is there. They are controlling that with monotheism. Monotheism teaches these, and it has, their religious, rigid dogma of monogamy and money. Of course, you've got to donate to the church because it feeds on money. Otherwise, the church of Petra, all of those stones will crumble. They need to maintain them, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a few callers in here, so let's bring some people in and get. Cause I love to hear from the table and more than anything to confirm that what we're sharing here is palpable, that people are getting this. Like when you say money, mon I or my I. See, I can see it from French, and I can also see it from the Mother of Creation, mine, MON. So there are so many ways to look at it, and isn't it funny? It always comes back to the self-responsibility. Monotheism, which is my creation of God. So that to me can be the reflection, and God made man in their likeness, or in our likeness after our image, kind of thing, right? So I had that backwards. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, what image of God are you creating for yourself? And we create. That's what the notes FACE are about. A face. I mean, you want to talk about the face of God. We recognize each other not by our body shapes and everything else, but by our face, by our facial features. And of course, I look at fa, se, which fa is the original root note or the base note of creation that sits at the heart chakra. The lion and the lamb both reside there. The lion of courage and the lamb of peace. That's when the lion and the lamb lie down together, and they will lie down at the base note of fa. And then you have se, which is himself, herself, itself, creation. So that is when face is the base of creation, and that's how we identify our likeness after our image, after our likeness. And isn't it funny how it all ties back into music? So just a couple other pointers. And the word, what is it, factidius or facere, Latin, which when I look at it, I saw face re, or the base note of creation of the light of God, facere. And factidius comes from the word fact, and that's actually what these all mean, and it means artificial. So when you say just the facts, what you're saying are what are the created artificial realities that we are, living here. This is the game grid. We created this game to play it. And all I'm interested in doing now is showing people how to play a much more fun version of the game, to slide their timelines where that creation already exists. We just got to get there. That's all. Pretty straightforward to me. We got Chi Lady and Manifest in the call here, so maybe
What's
get
up,
some
guys?
comments. Get some comments from you. Good. How are you?
Awesome. Just chilling, laying down, got all my lights off, pitch black, just, enjoying the abyss of creation.
In the zone.
Definitely.
So what we're sharing is making sense with you or what?
Oh, yeah, definitely, always. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't.
See, now there's a God that knows who they are. Choice, free will.
Of course. What else is there?
Not a whole lot. And don't forget, I am a deceiver of seeing truth. Depends on how you break the word apart. Or you can be polarized on it and think it's somebody trying to fool you. Well, I could be doing that too. I'm just here to... Here's some really cool kangaroos. I like to throw them out. I mean, you got a whole shit pile of nasty kangaroos jumping around your head. I've got a couple of friendlier ones. See what they do to your living room. They'll probably tidy it up for you.
It was funny. I was thinking about the F being replaced for the S, and that makes me think back to Hiram Abyss is actually Hiram Abyss.
There you go.
The Hiram of creation.
Yeah, from the open void, the abyss. From the void. And ab means in Latin means since, and you have is or Isis. Since creation.
Mm-hmm, and the alphabet, the A, the B.
Yes. Alphabet.
Yeah, and that's why the Dalai Lama is the equivalent of the High Ram. In Japan they have the name Hiromi. Well, that's just High Ram, but you'll find it everywhere.
Hey, Santo.
Yep.
Are you hearing any crackling on your end with your mic?
No, not at all.
Here, I'm going to mute the others to see if there's something happening here. Hang on. Let's try this again. Okay. Try now, Santo.
All right, it's me.
Okay, it was. Okay, I'll open the other mics. Okay, good. Yeah, there was just like a little distortion going on. So there.
On mine?
Yeah, when you were talking, it's okay now. We got you. It's good.
God, that's frustrating. It really upsets me.
That's all good. All good. Hey, we heard you. It was just a bit distorted. That's all. Just a bit of crackly in the background.
Transformer.
Yeah. You were doing that effects thing, like you do on stage with your voice. It's pretty cool.
Synthesizer.
It's all good. And we have Chile. Go ahead.
Did you hear the point I was made then, or not?
Yeah, but do it again. That way it's not be a little bit clearer.
Well, the point was that the Dalai Lama is another way of saying the High Ram. It's the High Lamb, the Dalai, the leading lamb. And that's what in Japanese they have a name. My wife is Hiromi, High Ram. You'll see it everywhere. It's a universal name. Pharaoh means that. Hero, High Ram, hero. And that's what we are required to be. You cannot return to cause without being a hero first. That's the path through to heroship.
Well, here let's look at the allegory of the two. As far as I know, they happened. Anyway, the two atomic bombs dropped in World War II. You had Hiroshima, so I can see the high ram in there as well. But have a look at the word Nagasaki, right? See, the G can be changed with a K, a few other letters too. But you have the my hex of spirit. Say of creation, so it's just all of these. Even what I'm trying to illustrate here is you can get all of the same sounds out of I don't care what language.
That's just
and they all mean the same thing. It's coincidence, right? See, this is why you got to learn to speak Phoenician. Okay.
Yep.
Phi, sacred creation, no shun. Phoenician, okay? You're not shunning creation. This is what it means to direct your game, and it's not about language per se. Language is tongue pledge. That's French, langage. Okay, it's a tongue pledge. What you're saying, because it comes out of your Taurus, your bull. That is your bull that you were saying, creating into your toroidal field. We have many versions of tongue pledges, but they're all based in one thing, sound, and that is sacred geometric creation, phi. Phi, fi, fo, fum. It's all there. Just a coincidence. All right? So it's phi, no shun. And it is it's so anagogically literal and vice versa, it gets laughable. And people are still trying to debate what doesn't need debating. Just have a look at it. Dare yourself to go, well, maybe bitch has got a point. Maybe I'll just shut up for 5 minutes into that silence is golden. Get up into the no name, right? No name is, here it is. You've seen the yellow trucks if you live in Canada. No name, saving is simple. I see that all the time. And what are we playing? The no name game, and the seventh chakra has no name. Saving is simple, and it's all about shutting up the left brain. Because your RAM has been hit with, Trojans. It's been hit with, what other interesting war characters are there? Okay? What is the Trojan horse? It's the deceiver. That's a Trojan virus that we all have running in the left brain because we can't shut up long enough to defend and justify our positions to get to that seventh no name, saving a simple chakra, the silence. And look at that, psi, L, ents. Psi, spirit, L, the intention of, ent, mind. So it's a spiritual intention of mind. That's when you get to the mind over matter. That is when you put your crown on. When you get into the silence, what you're doing then is you are allowing chaos. right brain, where all things are manifest, to drop the seeds into your well-riddled with ragweed left brain garden. Take the roses, the roses from the right, Eden, and plant those in your garden. Cain's been a busy little bugger, but I'll tell you what Cain is good at. Cain is good at nurturing everything you plant. And he will bring to God, the itself, those fruits. And because Cain had been reusing the fruits of the land, the same old, that's why God was upset. It makes total anagogic sense. So stop planting the seeds from the same old, well, I got an apple from this garden, I'm going to plant a seed from that apple back in this garden. What are you going to expect, a rose? I like using ragweed because it's more of a defined, polarized position. But I think you get the concept. If you're going to keep, reusing the same seeds from the literal ragweed garden, do not expect roses. You've got to shut up. You've got to get silent to let that spirit of intent of the mind enough time to give you a lightning bolt into your left field garden. Then you're going to do the little slide to the right. It's quite simple, but you got to shut up. You got to shut the monkey chatter up. The questions. Oh, but Kate. Yeah, but shut up. You have the answers inside you. I'm just one of your characters in your movie, just contrasting. If I'm a useful character, I'm glad to be, because everyone outside me is a beautiful contrasting character. I just observe it that way. I don't get emotionally attached to things now. I look at them for what they are. They're me. Love me, I better, This is where you start to choose the experience instead of the experience choosing you. That's the only difference. That's being cause. That's getting your crow mind back, your crow, to get your cause, your true speaking. Boy, did I see a lot of crows on the way here today. Yeah, the last 4 nights, 4 different shows, 4 different cities. How's that? And people are still saying, "Where's your essays?" I'm working on it. Anyway, there you go. I got Avita in the call too, as well as Chi Lady. So jump in here, guys. We got 45 minutes. I'm not rolling into the recording tonight.
Alvita's in.
Hello. Hi.
Hey.
Yes, I'd just like to say something real quick. Until you love what the truth would teach you about yourself, regardless of what you're giving to see, then your love is incomplete.
Well said.
Righty?
I can resonate with fully. That I can, right on the money, hon.
All righty.
But I don't expect anything less from you,
Uh-huh.
You're one of those more perfect aspects of me I like to hear from. I love it. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome very much.
There you go.
Yes, God is on deck. Carry on.
Speaking of, like how all mind is one. All mind is the field, and we draw inspiration from that field. And that's how we share the one thought, that through the morphogenetic field, as Rupert Sheldrake's work would prove. And it's funny, when you talk about your downloads, Kate, and how they just come so forcefully, so fast and so furious. And, you just got to stop and write it down as it comes, or else, you might, for me, I lose it. If I don't stop and write it down immediately, I will completely forget it. But it will come back to me later on, which is cool. But it's funny just, like, realizing how connected, like, literally telepathically, like, I am to you and Santos and, literally this whole group, and sort of like the whole leaders of this consciousness aspect, like Bill Donahue and Savan Bomar and, Mark Passio and, all of them.
Yeah, the crew.
Definitely. And what's crazy is how, like, I'm not the best at expressing my thoughts verbally. I mean, I'm getting pretty good at writing it down. Like when I write it down, like it's not me. Like it's literally, it's not me. Like when I go back and read it, I'm like, I'm like, wow. You know, it's overwhelming. And same with everything I do, especially like when I draw. And like what I'm really impatient, so when I'm drawing the piece, I'm like, oh, I just want to finish this already. But once I'm finally finished, I look back at it and I'm like, holy shit! How did I do that? It's crazy.
Yep.
And then what's funny is, like when I get these downloads and I can't express it, like I can't find the words to put it into, and you know, so I just let it go. You know, I just let it go and I put it back out into the Akashic, and I don't worry about it because I know it will show up. It will come back to me right at the perfect moment, at the perfect time. And what's crazy is when I would listen to the show, and you would have written one of the new pieces or something, like contracts specifically, and
yep.
I mean, everything in contracts was literally, it's stuff that I've been writing and I've been saying since I woke up this time last year, which isn't very long, but it's been coming fast and furious. And it's just crazy because it comes through back to me through you.
Well, of course. You know, we know what we're doing at this table every night? This is our mind, the one mind, talking with itself.
Exactly. Yes, it's a reverberation. What's crazy is I've had my biggest direct experiences and realizations of that is literally through psychedelic experience, which I'm not a big fan of anymore. It makes me really uncomfortable because it kicks my ass. I'm just way too sensitive to it. It like blows my mind open. But it was crazy because like I would have direct experiences. Like I would have a thought, and instantly someone around me would instantly say literally the exact thought that I had in my mind, like instant reverberation. And that's when I had the realization. I was like, holy shit, the people around me are just literally, it's just an echo of what is inside. And it's awesome.
I am just one of your thoughts, as you are just one of mine. You see, this is what God in our image and our likeness is. I can see the face of God. That's all of you. And that's the thing about being a songwriter for most of my life, is I have spent countless hours in the deepest meditation. So this has been something. It's not, whoa, you're lucky you got this, and no, this is an earned, baby. I spent a lot of time not only learning to play guitar and other instruments and whatever, also learning to craft within the English language, to write what some people would put in a novel. I've got to put in 3.5 minutes to give you the whole picture. So this is a lifetime worth of training. I'm one of your points of consciousness that did that part because you didn't have to, and
exactly.
Every one of you have done something in your life purpose as part of the whole puzzle that I didn't have to. It's the same way as I don't have to think about my toenails growing. The body does it for me. I'm traveling around in this meat stick vehicle. I don't have to worry about things. Very few things that we can consciously do. We can keep our eyes open or closed, mouth open or closed, and we can hold our breath, and a few other, nifty human tricks. But the vast majority of what goes on in our bodies is done unseen. Because if we had to do all of that, if I had to do all of your thinking from all of your points of view, having all of your experiences at the same time, I'd be schizoid. So this is how we saved our own schizophrenia. We blasted ourselves out into countless point of view of me, of you, and now we can interface and make sense of it to answer that question of why. I've got to the point now where why just doesn't matter. I'm just here to play now.
Exactly. Yeah, see, I think a lot of, one of the problems, well, not, nothing's essentially a problem, but, something that we get caught up in is that we've got to do, I've got to go out, I've got to externalize, I've got to do, masculine, Mars, I've got to achieve, with the phallic sword, and instead of the feminine being and relaxing into it and knowing that it's already done. That's why, there's so many portions of us, is because, and I'm really starting to come into, my own in this aspect of, people look at me, well, you're not doing shit, you're just sitting around like meditating all day, you're not doing shit. Well, think about this, I don't have to, because it's already done.
Well, here's a question for you guys. Am I out picketing and protesting and getting out being a nuisance? Or am I changing the world simply by, one, being on the air, and two, writing out documents and firing them off everywhere? I don't need to do the work like that. What I need to do is I breed kangaroos. And I send them out to the zoos around this world, and I let them jump around in the brains, and that's what it means to be. That is taking that is the pure Isis with that pure intent, and then the ram shows up, the Ra in the middle, right? Like look at the word isle, like island, ISLE, right? So for me, Israel shouldn't be Israel. It should be more like Isla Ra, because you have the sacred creation with the intent to create your light of God. So I like messing things around a little bit to have a look at it from a different perspective in the Trinity. And again, I have to go back to August Rush. I watched it last night after the show with Mary, and I can't watch that movie enough, because it is such a perfect personification of the whole story of the inner child, unyielding, knowing full well that the symphony that we have the illusion that we'll never get to. We'll never get there. We have that illusion, right? That's the not be God part. And that child turns around to see it at the end, to see the fullness of creation, the himself, herself, itself in perfect harmony, because they all followed the tune. They all followed the music. They heard the song. And that song is what's inside of you. Santo, you said it perfectly. The song is the mirror of Nos, the Gnostics. Nos, N-O-S-E, K-N-O-W-S, G-N-O-S. Nos is connected to the heart. What is the heart? That's your base note of creation. That's your Fa. That's your green. That's your heart chakra. And that's where all your intuitive is. And that's where true creation is. That's where I place my intent to send it out that way. And it's been scientifically proven that the heart is 10,000 times more powerful than the mind could ever be. So you've got to get out of the mind to get into the heart. Once you're in the heart, now you're the creator. Now you're the Ra. Take Earth, heart, the Ra, ear of God, ear Theos, right? It's just coincidental that one word works so many different ways. Yeah, that's why they call it a plan-it.
Can I say something here?
Go for it.
Yeah, jump in.
Yeah, okay. There's something I just want to put in here. A long time ago, and I can't remember who put it on, but in the main room, somebody said it's what you think. I want to point out that it's not necessarily so much what you think, but how you think.
Well, what? W-A-T-T.
Because I can think with my forward brain or my left side brain or whatever you want to see it as, and I can think I want to be a flower. And just physically, because I'm in the wrong sense of consciousness, it doesn't exist. But as soon as I shift to that proper sense, I don't even know how to describe it. It just kind of naturally happens.
Yeah.
And you're old enough, Kate, to remember before we had cell phones and everything, back in the 70s and 80s, you used to think,
I remember the dial-up phones for crying out loud.
Yeah. And, you're thinking, I wonder what's up with so-and-so. And all of a sudden, within about 2 minutes, that person phones. Mm-hmm. Hey, I was just thinking about you.
Or better yet,
it's how you think, not necessarily what you think, that creates the world around you.
Yeah. Well, how many times in your life, and I can pretty much, and I've never met anyone that this hasn't happened to, but you've went over to pick up the phone to call someone, and they've actually called you, and you've picked it up just before it rang, or vice versa.
Yeah. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the resonance. Sound cannot travel through a vacuum, but the resonance can, the true wave, and that comes from the heart.
But that's what I'm saying. It's how you're,
yes.
But it's the state of your mind and how you're thinking at the time, not necessarily what you're thinking. Because when you get in that state of mind and you learn to control that, you can
phonetically
control the universe around you.
I'm going to make you even righter. You ready?
Control the universe around you. You can make things change, make people do things to your advantage without injuring or damaging them, just by putting that frequency out there. And someone will pick it up and be in the same vibe and help you. I'm
going to make you even more right. Because it is what you think. W-A-T-T. Back to the phonics. What is a watt? Watt is a unit of energy. What intent are you putting into that? And that's coming from the heart. Intent is all about feeling.
Yeah, it's funny. That goes back to Rupert Sheldrake's research about his telepathic morphogenetic field research, where he would do studies of the psychic pets, and then also with the telephone experiment.
Here, one second, guys. Guys, if you put your hand up, just mute on your end. Here, let me. Because I got a lot of background noise going on.
Yeah, me too.
I can still hear a feedback.
I'm gonna mute mine real quick. Make sure it's not me.
Okay, if you're on headphones, it won't be. If you got speakers going, it could be.
Okay, yeah, I'm on headphones.
Yeah, headphones don't cause a problem, not unless you got really shitty headphones. But I just opened up 505. Yeah, we're still here. I've just got 505.
The buzzing, is it still there?
Checking 1 2. No, it's better. It's still a little bit, but it's tolerable now. I just want to open up 505s. We're sitting with half an hour left, so I want to make sure everyone gets in tonight. And Santo's sitting back there nice and quiet. You okay there, Santo?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm wondering whether that's mine.
No, it's
feedback.
It's not. I just opened up 505. You got a lot of noise in your end, bud.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, I don't know what that is. But it's.
Well, I'm on speaker, so maybe I should get a headset and ask the question later.
Or move away from the speakers far enough so it's not getting picked up by your mic. Fair?
It's the laptop, so I can't really move away from them.
Just angle your laptop away a little bit, because your laptops are actually designed to do this. Just angle the speaker. They're the mics are unidirectional.
HD.
That sounds better. Whatever. So go ahead, 505. Who we got?
This is Frank.
Frank, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I think we're doing okay tonight.
Okay. I have a question regarding receiving letters. Like, for example, I received a letter from a government official, and it was addressed, obviously, to a legal name. So really, they're aiding and abetting me into committing fraud.
Yes, they are. You got some evidence. Yeah.
Okay, now how do I avoid committing fraud? Do I return the letter unopened, or?
Well, I would actually find out which government office it's coming from and maybe fire off a phone call to the individual to ask them to please stop aiding and abetting you into committing fraud. If to get an email address, I would say, or mailing address, I would just mail that unopened back with a whole bunch of little notices. You might find some useful stuff on my site, cateofgaia.wordpress.com. Fill up a nice big brown envelope and fire it back to the government office. And make sure you read the stuff, though, so you understand intent. It sounds like you're already on that page. So throw the kangaroos back. Throw the kangaroo back.
Or you can... I'm sorry. The other question that I have, if I mail a letter to this government official, am I not aiding and abetting him into committing fraud because I'm addressing it to his?
Well, again, what is your intent? Mailing it to the dead legal name or to the living lawful one? It's all about your intent. This has got nothing to do with what's on paper. This is the spellbinding I speak all the time. What is your intent? Is it your intent to aid and abet and commit fraud? No. So you're addressing the individual as their living form.
Right. Even though I'm using their legal name.
No, you're using, no, but see, it's both. It's you choose. You have both a legal and a lawful name, and I use this just to separate them like oil and water. Legal is dead, lawful is living. Okay?
Yes.
What is your intent? Are you the legal dead name or the living lawful one? You can't be both. You can only be one or the other. So choose one. So you're the lawful living. So now, are you gonna mail it to their dead legal name where the dead can't read, or are you going to mail it to their lawful living? And it doesn't matter how you address it. It's what your intent is that you're putting onto that piece of paper. You're the creator, not the paper. You see the difference? Okay. It's very subtle.
Yes. So really.
I mean, how are they going to differentiate you from all of the other gods out there? If they don't, what are they going to call you? I am? Well, I am too.
Yeah, exactly. So again, this is about addressing the other faces of our godness with something that you can reference them with. It's not an identification. It's a reference. This is the tag that you use to match your face so that I can separate you from the rest of the consciousness. It would be very confusing otherwise. So that's the only reason we have this.
Okay, so it doesn't matter how I address.
No,
there is no difference between addressing it to a legal name or addressing it to the living. It's just basically the intent.
It's what? Yeah, you're sending it to the living to inform them. Yeah,
it's like saying my name is, as opposed to saying I am, and giving a name.
Yeah.
My name is. This is how you can identify me. I am is saying I am this name that you're looking for.
Yeah, it's about removing any assumption or presumption of a legal joinder name. That's all you're doing, and you're aware of that. So now you have changed your mind on it, so your universe has changed. So what you're putting out now is the intent from that position, not from the dead legal, I don't know who I am, ignorant position. You now know who you are, that you're not the legal name. You know that they're committing fraud, and you just want them to stop. That's your intent. So send it back. Send them a few notices in a nice big brown envelope, and fire off some kangaroos. Let them hop around in their office for a while.
Or just do as Santo does, and just make sure you wipe your ass with it first. Also, that's
can you do that, Santos? That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's your big brown envelope right there.
There you go. Yeah, put some DNA on that for them.
Well, yeah, my blood, I guess, yeah.
Sorry, I got a really crazy sense of humor.
That's okay. We're a little wild and crazy and zany here, so it's all good. We're not here to get serious. That's the star that got all this problem happening, right? We're all too serious. Now we need to be a whole lot more playful. The inner child. Stand your ground. Stand on your truth. Know who you are. No one needs to tell you what. And more and more people are learning every day that we don't need a nanny state wiping our bums for us. I mean, seriously, how many people have ever really, really, really been helped by government?
Oh, they've been helped, in quotations.
Oh, yeah, really helped. Here, let me help you behind those bars. Here, let me help you up to your bank account. Here, let me help you tax the living snot out of you. Yeah. Let me help myself.
And even when it comes to even when it comes to getting what they call social assistance or welfare or whatever the hell they're calling it now, it's even let us help you live in poverty for the rest of your life, so you never have a step up to get a fucking hand out of the ditch you're in.
Yeah, it's again, if you want to get into the
even
literal
welfare
matrix,
is a trap.
Yeah, well, here, let's look at the literal matrix for a second here. We're going to give you some social assistance, but we've built your spiritual universe for a couple of $100 million. Here's a couple of $100 a month. It's a little bit lopsided, don't you think? So when you start to see the
they're
joke,
fucking you when you come, they're fucking you when you go.
Right, but we can't have a game without that happening. This is where the anger just totally abates. It's like, oh yeah, I got God good on that one, but now I know how to not get God, and we play it back, but we do it in a playful sense. There's no maliciousness here. If someone wants to spend the rest of their life in jail because they don't want to be a hero, that's not my choice. That's theirs. I'm just going to play the game now. I'm going to launch the kangaroos and hop them around in everybody's head and let them create their own timeline. I don't have to do anything except create. That's what it means to be.
Yep. The state of being, the causal, instead of being the effect. Instead of being the echo, you create that echo.
Yeah, it's a big valley. It's called consciousness. So, when you make your wish, make it count and make it from a singularity position where, regardless if there is good or evil occurring, that it is a better world as a result. The intent must be a better creation. It's like that prime example, that letter I sent out, the 72 hours, the contract's already done, so I don't have to do anything else, and I know that. But I gave everyone on that email the opportunity to be a villain or a hero. As a villain, they can rot in jail if they want. Or as a hero, they can be alongside us, waking this consciousness up, and either way, it's a better world.
Hell yeah. Hey, I was wondering if maybe Santo, if you would be able to get a chance to maybe finish my chart again from last night since you cut out.
What was yours?
It was Cancer, June 30th.
Right. Okay.
If that's not, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, we get about 20 minutes left until the end here, so if it rolls over for a minute or two, fine. But yeah, I really didn't want to be on tonight, so just letting you guys know that you're not going to talk to me in another hour.
If not, it's cool. If not, it's cool.
It's up to Santo. I'm good.
Yeah. Shoot the details. 30th of June.
All right. 1988.
Yep. Someone's got the mics on in the background.
5:46 a.m. What site can I go to follow on that real quick?
Horoscopeswithin.com.
Yeah, and
right.
just letting Rebecca know. Someone's here. I'm pretty sure it's this one. So give me a second, guys. Check. Okay, I'm not sure. Let me try this one. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. One more time. Check 1 2. Okay, the Owl Smith. It's yours. Is doing the feedback. Just letting you know.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, so these other ones opened. Rebecca, mute on your end, hon. Okay, there was a bit of hiss from your mic, so carry on, Santo.
Okay,
yep, that'll solve it right there.
San Antonio, Texas.
Okay, 30th of June, 1988. 5:46 a.m. San Antonio, Texas.
Correct.
Behar?
Wait, what is that?
Is it in the region of Behar? It'd have to be.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, all right. What did we get up to now? I forget.
Honestly, we didn't even start, really.
Oh, okay. All right. So, Gemini ascendant, of course, and you've got all those goodies in Gemini, Venus and Mercury conjunct. So that's the charming lips. It's great virtues. It has a little bit of a nasty attached to it, though. It can give the desire to, for if you want to call it a nasty prolificacy, would that be the word in relationships, especially with partners? Probably you'd be bored with one over a long time. That's the thing. As I pointed out with the sister yesterday, I did the chart reading, or the day before, I think it was, Casanova had that conjunction, Mercury and Venus. Yeah, it's very charming on the lips because Mercury's got a dose of Venus now on the tongue. So when you speak, you're actually speaking with with love on the lips. But, of course, your Venus is interesting. She's not aspecting to other planets, and she's retrograding. So, but they are very, very virtuous planets, very far forward of the sun, rising first, wanting to be recognized first. So you've got Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury rising first before the sun, and what a beautiful row of planets. Unfortunately, they're in the 12th house, which is a weak sign, and it's a cadent sign. Now, cadent means to fall, and a third of the signs along the house system are cadent sign. And remember, a third of God's angels fell from heaven. Well, it's talking about the cadent sign. There are 4 of them, and they all come before the angles. So that would be the 12th house, the 9th, the 6th, and the 3rd. These all come before the angles, and they are cadent. They are a third of God's angels that have fallen from heaven. And the other ones, well, they are cardines and succedent signs. So so they've lost a lot of their good power, but they're in a, if you want planets in the 12th house, you want good ones, and they're going to bring lots of goodies in terms of your subconscious and tapping into that. They're going to be kind on you when it comes to fears, because that's the house of fears and anxiety and hidden enemies. So there's a level of love there, a bit soft. Their blows will be soft, but there will be, enemies. Jupiter in the 12th house by night will bring enemies, brother. You're going to have an enemy or two coming from hidden places. Definitely, absolutely. And that doesn't mean, I'm casting a spell on you. That just means that that's the energy that's there, and you are the one now knowing it, and you are the one that has been always above that. Hopefully, you will be now. That's absolutely for sure in your chart. But that's the as I said, the 12th house will always bring some negative goods. You've got a lot of stuff there in the 7th house, which means partnerships is very important to you. The sun in the 1st house is magnificent. Probably not the best sign in the 1st house to be in Cancer, but it's bright sunshine in your life. It's the most powerful angle. Remember, the angles have all the power. The cadent sign, well, they've fallen from heaven. And by the way, every third part of every sign is also the cadent part of a sign, of a house. So, for instance, let's look at your MC. Well, the North Node is in your MC in the 1st decan. That's where you want it, as close to the MC as possible, in the first 10 degrees. Mars is in the 2nd part. Well, that would be the succedent part of the 10th house. But if he were in... someone's making a lot of noise in the background. A lot of movement.
Yeah, I'm hearing it too.
It's not me.
Yeah, but if Mars were in the 3rd part of the 10th house, it would be in the cadent part. So there are 36... You see, there are 12 houses, but if you divide each house into 3 segments, as you do, decans, you will have 3 parts. So it's 36 parts, and a third of those, 12 of those, are cadent decans. And again, it goes back to the angles of heaven that fell. They are the weak angels who fell. They can't help but fall because they are in fallen parts of the ecliptic. It's just the way light works. Light is not always perfectly shining, always. There's always impurities and flickering, and light is always flickering, and so, it's telling you that it's not stable, fire rather, and so, because it's vibrating, it has to, because magnetic light is darkness. It's stillness. Anyway, Mars in the 10th house is good by night, next to the North Node. That's pretty powerful. You're going to have a powerful path to walk on, put it that way. Very martial, very noble. The North Node's there in Pisces, in the MC. So you probably have work that has to do with water. When your MC is in water, it indicates watery professions or psychic professions, probably. But big path for you, brother, with Mars in the 10th house by night. And all of that stuff in the 7th house, there's obviously a lot of stuff going on there. Moon in Capricorn, Neptune's there, Uranus is there, Saturn's there. Saturn is conjunct Uranus. That's an interesting conjunction. I haven't really studied up a lot on that, but that will bring you a lot of rebellious, really rebellious stuff in regard to relationships. And it's also a spiritual sign. It has to be, because it relates to Libra. It's the 7th house, and so the 7th house is Libra. That's how you do the signs. You've got to look at the houses as you would the astrological signs. So the first house with the sun in it, that's Aries, I am. Of course it's about you. It's the house about you. And then the second house corresponds with the energy of Taurus, I have, and it's the house of sustenance, of sensus, of substance, substance, whereas the first house is of essence. It's the I am. The second house is the I have. And then the third house is I think and I communicate and all of that. So it's the house of communication and your brothers. And the fourth house is, your home and, of course, economy and all that stuff because of Cancer, the crab. So the 7th house is a spiritual house because why? Because it's air. Air is spiritu. Air. Spiritus in Latin. Ruach. Not ruach. No, it's another word in Hebrew, but in Greek it's pneuma with a P. PN, and it gives us mnemonics and all of the words like pneumatics and stuff like that. So it is a spiritual house, and if you've got planets in the 7th house, it's good for that. It's good, and you would have a very eclectic spirituality based on the 7th house stuff that's going on. I've got 4 planets in my 7th house too. I've got Sun and Moon and Jupiter and Mercury. Sun is in Aries, and the other 3 are in Pisces, in the 7th house. So it does give you a really good, broad, eclectic, approach to spirituality and hermetic wisdom. You can couple the 7th house with the 9th house, really. The 9th house is the true telling house of spirituality, and you've got Aquarius and Pisces up there, and that's the dreamer and the knower, so that's also pretty good. You see, this is how you have to look at your chart. You've got to go along. You just search on the net what every house means, and look at the planet, and look at their alchemical element. For instance, Sun in the first house is gold, so you're going to be, in your particular family, you will be the sunshine kid. You will be all your brothers and sisters, or your mother and father and everybody. They'll think of you as just the limelight grabber. You'll just naturally do that, and it'll probably annoy some of them. It'll probably aggravate many people if they're if they're unstable or insecure.
Hey guys, we got just over 8 minutes here. I want to get the shout-outs done, then you can wrap that up. That's awesome. Big thank you to Paul Giovanni and criticalmassradio.co.uk for having this table set for us every single night that we can sit and play at and have food fights and stuff. Thank you to all you guys that have helped by chipping in and keep this table growing bigger and bigger, and it is growing bigger and bigger exponentially. So thank you guys for that, and to the crew at Critical Mass Radio, which also includes Santo and myself too, I guess. So I'm gonna be part of that. We're all the crew here, and that includes all of you guys as well. So we do this together. Now it is our turn, and are we doing this so well or what? So anyway, just wanted to get that out there. No point if don't worry about calling in because we're not going to roll over tonight. We will tomorrow night probably, but tonight I'm out of here in 7 minutes. So wrap it up. And for those that haven't jumped in, well, maybe if you just want to say a quick hi when Santo and Made Manifest are done here. You got about 7 minutes. Take her away.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello, Rebecca.
Can you hear me? I'm calling.
All right, I want what you're smoking.
Like miss you all, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all good, hon. Good to hear from you. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm really disappointed, Kate, you're not rolling over. How dare you do that to me? I was ready to roll. I was going for it, you know? I've been psyching myself up for rolling over, and you're just going to cut it short.
No, I'm going to do a different kind of rolling over tonight. It's called Papers with a little bit of substance. So I wasn't even supposed to be on tonight. So you got 2 hours out of me that you weren't supposed to.
It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter. We tuned in for this purpose, and we are going to keep it rolling. We have to do that.
I'll tell you what. Get trained up on the board, and you can roll it.
We will hold the line, Kate. We will hold the line. Yeah?
I know. Like I said, I wasn't even supposed to be here tonight.
Right, guess what? You're here.
But I'm here because it's now a moment, different timeline. It's all good.
I mean, I was so excited. I just wanted Santos to be my chart, but now I'm thinking if we've only got 7 minutes, I don't want to bore all the listeners with my chart, you know?
I just want to apologize, Kate. I created that reality where you showed up tonight and came on, and I got to listen to you for a whole show because so often I'm working, I don't get to listen to you.
There you go. Well, it's all good. I'm here, right?
It's my fault. I apologize.
Roll it over, babe. Let's roll it over.
Hun, I have spent 4 days traveling. I've been in 4 different locations, and I was really looking forward to just sitting back tonight.
No, we're here. We're giving you our energy. We're all supplying each other with our own energy. You know, I thought I'm coming on. That's it. We're all gonna like get it done together. And I need it to roll over for all of us. You know, we can't just stop because we're a wee bit tired and the world is broken.
Oh, said someone shows up for the first time in months.
That's me, dude. If you'd have heard what I've been going through, like, Jesus.
Yep, call in tomorrow night.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Rebecca, I think I'm in love with you.
They all are, honey. They all are. That's the problem. That is the actual problem.
Yeah, there's something about Irish girls that drive men crazy. I don't know what it is.
It's that divine female. We don't forget our Celtic roots. It's the clan mother energy, you know.
Oh, baby.
Yep. Oh yeah. You don't mess with us either.
I think somebody hinted it's also going to do the accent or something.
Mother energy, and the reason you need to roll over because I need to tell you something. Yeah. Basically, I've been doing. Yeah. I'll tell you it straight, baby. I've been doing like the whole communal living thing in London for like 3 years.
Hang on. We've got 3.5 minutes. If we're going to roll over for a few minutes, you can call in at 661-467-2401.
Let's roll over, baby. Come on, we're going to have fun.
No. I just called out. We roll over for a few minutes. That's fine. But no, I'm done. I'm getting off the air tonight. 7 nights a week, on 9 shows a week. Enough, you know. I need a break.
It's Sunday.
It's Sunday night, for Christ's sake. You know, this is the 7th chakra. It's time for God to work.
Is Santos going to be there?
Yeah, Santo will be there.
Okay,
Kate needs to just chillax and smoke a doob, maybe have a beer or two and relax. I mean, everybody needs to just unwind once in a while.
I love my beers. As long as Santos is there, we're going to roll over, yeah?
Santos stand out of this one. He's smart. He's in the I am mode of Aries.
Yeah.
I'm on your side there, Kate. I'm backing you on that one. Like,
I know. It's like I gotta
say, and gotta take a break.
Yeah, Santos is showing the mirror of Aries. I am not.
I'm always rock and rolling.
I know
anyway,
you are.
So, you know that.
Well, listen.
Right,
tell you what, guys. I'll leave the lines open. If Santo, it's up to you. I can take the headphones off.
Santos, can I
let's do it.
Santos, I've been listening to these shows for 2 years and always wanting my chart done. But if you're tired, you want to go, that's totally cool. I understand it.
Listen to the
totally
guilt.
understand.
I know like an Irish
thing is
the wench. There's the wench.
I think Thomas Sheridan would imply that maybe a psychopath you might be dealing with there.
It's okay, honey. I can accept my dark side. I can deal with that. That's no problem.
It usually involves a French maid outfit. It's awesome.
Again, I'm in love.
I knew I wore my kilt.
I'm wasted.
I knew I wore my kilt for a reason. Oh my God, you guys! You guys are relentless.
Yeah, I know, but isn't that the way, though? Isn't that the way? I don't know, I feel like I have to get it all in 3 minutes. I feel pressured. I don't like that feeling.
Well, no woman likes it. No woman likes it done in 3 minutes. So listen, it's entirely up to Santo.
How you feel, Santo?
Well, I mean, it's daytime for me. I want to respect Kate's wish. Really, I understand how it feels at times. I'm happy to do it for you tomorrow at length, sister. I mean, I'm still halfway through Made Manifests, and
Well, tell you what, Santo.
Yeah, let's resume it later then.
Tell you what we can do is maybe we'll start the show tomorrow. It's tomorrow's Monday night, and then you can finish Made Manifest, get you on a good roll, get the vibe, and then Rebecca, I'm going to hold you to it, show up, and then we'll do that. Does that work for you? Because I really do love when you're doing charts for people, Santo, because it educates them on their life path, and it applies to everybody. It's a universal synchronism, you know.
Everyone loves it.
Yeah. So if you're good with that, Santo, I'm good, and we'll roll the show out tomorrow like that to begin with, and go from there.
Well, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here at your service.
Even if you get that situation at an Irish party, and it's like, should we phone Nighthawk and get an extra delivery of booze, or should we not? It's like one of those situations. Should we close it down for the night, or should we keep going? You know? It kind of feels like that, you know?
Well, I want to party with you.
Funny, Kate, you were saying about Nighthawk, a.k.a. Shitehawk, yeah? It's the same in Ireland. You have Nighthawk, a.k.a. Shitehawk, you know? They go get you your booze, they deliver it, and it's like, do I want to keep going extra mile, or should I just give up the ghost and go to sleep, get my beauty sleep? You know, it's a similar thing.
Hon, it's got nothing to do with sleep.
What I do for a living, babe. It's what I do for a living. It's got everything to do with availability of instruments, and you know. Sorry, you're fighting the musician in me right now. You're going to lose.
No, I'm not fighting anything, babe. I'm just saying about conversation we will get.
All right, Rebecca, we've already rolled over. So listen, we'll start this off tomorrow night, okay?
Love you lots, guys. Beauty sleep.
All right.
Love you too, Rebecca.
If you want Made Manifest, I'll share Rebecca's Skype. Yeah, Rebecca, if you want, I can give you a Made Manifest Skype. And you guys...
sure, no bother.
All right, see, I'm a matchmaker on the fucking air too. Unbelievable.
Ow!
All right, I don't even think I've got yours, Rebecca. Let me just check before we go under here.
Well, my website is www.ras-art.com, so there you go.
Okay.
Romeo Alpha Foxtrot or Romeo Alpha Sierra?
Well, whatever floats your boat, really.
I didn't hear what it was. I heard R-A, and the last letter is obscure. I'm not sure if it's F as in Foxtrot or S as in Sierra.
It's www.art.com.
That just made it worse, but okay.
Yeah, well, Rebecca, I just sent her,
it wasn't
Skype.
intended for me, I don't think, anyway, so I'm good with that.
Rebecca, hon, I've sent you a Skype request. So
I know, Kate, but like seriously, that's so out of my technology vibrancy. I can't handle technology, seriously, but I will look into it. I'll make an effort tomorrow to look into that. Whatever it is, I don't use Skype that often, you know.
Well, I sent you a contact.
An hour to set up a call. It's seriously, but yeah.
What will be will be.
That's it. You find me, you know.
Yeah.
I already got you. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, listen, I'm going to roll out of here, and we'll pick this up where we leave off tonight. Anto and myself will be here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. And that being said, I'm going to wind out with a little Zeppy, baby, little Santo.
God peace be with you.
Zep Teppy.
Zep Teppy from yours truly, Santos Bonacci. So here we go. We'll roll out with this. So I'll mute the mics out, and you guys can hang out for as long as you want. It runs for 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So
my dog's name.
There you go. So here it is. You guys keep talking. Oh, bloody night. Yeah.
Love you, Kate.
Love you guys.
I feel like dancing.
I do too. Like, is that me?
You're listening to Santos Bonacci, live on Syncretism, here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. As above and so below is the holy science you need to know, astrotheology, because now it's our turn. You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now it's our turn.
The navel chakra, the second. Gaia chakra is the solar plexus, that's Ran. Then the heart chakra is the air chakra, that is Yan. Let me just make sure I've got this right. I'm going to have to consult my little book.
Yeah, no problem. You know, that's...
because I know people are writing this down. I do not want them to make a mistake. Bottom chakra is Lam, earth. Second chakra is Van, water. Third chakra is Ran, fire. Fourth chakra is Yan, with a Y, Y-A-N, Yan, and that is air. And the fifth chakra is ether, and that is Han, H-A-N. The sixth chakra, the pineal gland, is Om, O-N. So you've got Lam, Van, Ran, Yan, Han, Om. And the seventh chakra has no name. It has no name. And that's why when we go to Revelation, the first seal, there are 7 seals, and the Lamb opens the first seal, of course, because it's the first chakra, the earth Lamb chakra. And of course, when he gets to the 7th seal and opens the 7th seal, there is silence in heaven because there's no sound. The 7th chakra has no sound. The pineal gland is the Om chakra. That's why the Hindus always depict it with the Om symbol. And then the other 5 elements are the 5 chakras below. And the predominant ones are Ram, fire, and Lam, earth. Because fire is motion and earth is rest, according to Plutarch. And so there is motion and rest in the universe. Ram ignites nitrogen, ignitrogenerator. And Lam is the carbon, Cabra, carbon, anagrams for each other, carbon-12 crystal that nitrogen ignites. And so carbon is the signature of the universe, carbon-12. And that is the Lamb of God. And it's interesting that Mars, backwards for Ran, Mar and Ran, is the exalter of Capricorn. So the Lamb Mars exalts astrologically in the sign of Capricorn, which is the Cabra carbon Lamb. So the connections are thick. They're very, very thick. This Temple of Solomon, you know, if you took one I or a T out of it, the whole structure would fall. There is nothing out of place in this temple. I've proven this. I've proven it over and over again in my presentations. The secret of the universe lies in the wave. You draw the wave, which turns out to be the ecliptic, of course. You must understand that the ecliptic is just one of those waves. It's just one of the fractals of every single holographic toroidal wave, one source, from one point of truth. Truth cannot be divided. Lies can. Divide and conquer can. And that's why Rome benefits from that. Oh, yeah, they like to divide and conquer people. For sure. First of all, they give you a birth certificate, a death certificate, and divide you from the rest because you have a title now, separate, a name, which is backwards for, look at the word name, and it's backwards for man. Why would you be backwards? Actually, it's not even, it's energy man. E-N-A-N is the spelling of name backwards. Energy man. But no one wants to be an energy man. They would rather be a name. And, they'll go and pay obeisance to they'll go and, quote unquote, defend their country, in wars, and go and kill other souls because of that name, because that's their obligations as a civil, responsible citizen of the United States, which is just a paper corporation. Wow, what a noble way to die. Go and die for some paper, because the paper said something. But if you open your ears, you won't hear any voice coming from paper. As you mentioned yesterday, Kate, what did the summons say? Well, nothing, because it can't speak.
Yeah, you have to respond it, re-give it life, response, right? That's to response, which is to do again, spawn, give life, say creation. Even as you're talking, you've got the mirror. When you put name backwards, you have E-man. You can call it, E, the mirror of consciousness, the 9, man, and E before word means no man. So it's actually, to me, if you are a name, you are the atom, the man, whereas when you reverse that, that's when you have your no man, that's no man's land. And to me, that's just fully representative of the spirit. So you will either be a physical, literal meat stick, or you will be consciousness. And it boggles my imagination. It really does, because I get asked countless times about, how do I do this if I don't have this, and I don't have a name, and I don't have a passport, or this, that, and the other. And the only answer, and I deal a lot in the old Occam's razor, where the simplest answer is generally the true answer. And the simple truth of the matter, and you covered it just right there, Santa, with this whole divide and conquer. You're going to be of this country, you're going to have this flag, you're going to have this political stripe, this religious stripe. Look at all of the different things that have been we've put into this game to divide us from consciousness itself. And what a noble way to commit suicide. That's not dying. If you sign up for an army, you're saying that it's okay that you die. So that's actually a suicidal act. The thing is, the game for me is simple. Here's Occam's razor. If
in existence, therefore we attach ourselves to it, and we write Gospels, and Virgil wrote the fourth Eclogue based on it, and the Ennead. And he wrote, and Ovid wrote the Metamorphoses based on the ecliptic. Whether they taught the ecliptic as I do, there's no evidence of it, but whether they did or they didn't matters not. What they were teaching was the ecliptic. And they always started their stories where you ought to. If you're doing a philosopher's the Philosopher's Stone, and you're speaking about how to transmute lead into gold, you will start in Cabra, Carbon, Saturnian, Martian, Earth, Cardinal Earth, Capricorn. At cosine. Cosine would be the other function of sine, and the sine wave will begin in Aries. So this is why you've got the sheep and the goats. Because you were talking about physics. Aries always begins at sine wave, 0 degrees, right ascension of meridian, starts everything off in that sense, because light emanates from from nitrogen, whereas carbon is the opposite, totally opposite of nitrogen, in the sense that it is purely an element of rest in the universe. Everything rests in carbon, matter, earth. It's all about rest. And the Lord rested on the seventh day. That would be the seventh chakra, because it is rest. And so Aries igniting Agnis the Lamb of God. You see, this is why you have every ruler of every church is a lamb, you know. Why do you have a Dalai Lama? Why do you have the Lamb of God, Jesus? Why is Muhammad? Why does that mean the Lamb of God? The name Muhammad and his other names that he was given. Why is Brahma the chief god of the universe, according to the Hindus, the ram? And his firstborn is Agnis. And why does the Rig Veda mention Agnis 7 times in the opening words? Why does the Genesis open with the words Bereshit bara Elohim, which represents the Lamb 4 times? Why does the Quran, the book about the Ram, open with Bismillah al-Rahman al-Rahim, 6 times mentioning the Lamb, 4 times the Lamb and twice the Ram? Because we're talking about the ecliptic, the sine wave, because that's where the secret of the universe lies. You're looking elsewhere? Well, you're going to be looking forever. You're going to be chasing the wind. It's all in the Lam, Vam, Ram, Yan, Ham, Om. And the no-name, Ein Sof, Anama, Prime Creator. Prime is also indicative of what's truly going on. Prime, principles, everything that's prime is one. It's the first, it's the one, a principle. You see, all things, all truth, all law is based in principles because they are the first ones. They're first in line. That's where all truth emanates from.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn. You're listening to Santos Bonacci live on Syncretism here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. As above and so below is the holy science you need to know, astrotheology, because now it's our turn.
Good evening, welcome to Outside the Box, Syncretism Outside the Box, kind of the same thing anyway, right? Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, joined by Santos Bonacci, of course. Chris couldn't do the show tonight, he's going through a bit of a detox and is not feeling 100% right now, so asked me earlier if I'd sit in. I said, well, yeah, I'm kind of doing that anyway, so it's all good. Excuse me, that being said, we had a bit of rambunctious fun last night, a whole lot of astrotheology, a whole lot of calling it out for what I see as being anyway, and yeah, we'll touch on that for sure tonight. I was really curious, Santo, you've been reading that the language crystal, and I was hoping maybe if you're into it, just a little bit more feedback on it, because for me, this whole universe is sound, and the more we can understand sound and the creations of words and symbols that create an effect, et cetera, as far as I'm concerned, the more capable people are going to be to really start seeing what's going on, and it will open up their universes to a level that they're heretofore not really have been aware of. I'm encountering that myself, and of course many people that I talk to throughout the course of the day are really getting it as well, and it's so nice to be able to converse at this level where people are going, yeah, I see the magic, and isn't it cool, So you'd be into, maybe we can do a little bit of talking about that tonight?
Yeah, yep, for sure.
Yeah,
yep.
Because apparently people are still having a bit of trouble getting the book. I got to tell you, man, as soon as you mentioned it the other night, there wasn't one to be found in the next day or so. Yeah.
I'm pretty lucky to have gotten the last one. I jumped on that real quick because I realised if Bill appreciates it as one of his best, probably his best, I think that's what I heard. That's what put me onto it. I heard that, and yeah, it is fantastic. It really carries the theme of the letter R and L throughout the whole book and ties in a lot of other great numerological information the 80s of Ronald Reagan's era, and Carter and all of that, and some of the amazing numbers that he comes up with. Ronald Reagan's number was 666. In fact, his name, Ronald, I think it's Wilson Reagan, all three of his names have 6 letters in it, and no other president in U.S. history had 666 in their name. And he brought out that during his reign, everything was pretty much based around that number 666. In fact, the day he was elected, someone won the lotto, and the numbers were 666, and it was tied in with the luck of the presidency of Ronald Reagan. And from then on, all through the 8 years of Reagan, there was 666 just turned up everywhere. For instance, they might have had a windfall of surplus, and it would have been $6,666 dollars of surplus. Deficit would have been $6.66 billion. And all throughout the Reagan period, there was those numbers. And then he goes into the number 18, how that turns up everywhere, and that's, of course, the 18th letter, the letter R of the alphabet, and L is the 12th. So we have Jesus turning up in the temple at 12, and then he disappears for 18 years. Well, that's L and R. And the reason why, these letters are so special is because they are from the tip of the tongue, you see, and we use them when we say R in Italian. That's the R, the letter R. It's rolled in Italian. And so it's the tip of the tongue. And if you don't have a good, if your tongue is not very mercurial, I'm very fortunate to have a great mercurial tongue. What happens when you do is that when you speak other languages, your accent is pretty clean. Whereas some people, when they speak other languages, I don't know why, but I have the natural gift to be able to have the accent as well as the grammar, right? But others, and I'm talking geniuses who speak many languages, they don't have that particular gift, and so they will have a very strong accent. Though they may speak the language very, very well, the accent is always there. Well, these are all separate gifts, and some people have the whole collection of them, others don't. So when you're rolling your R and your L, you'll find that L comes off the very tip of your tongue. L, liquid. They are liquids. And so these two are the most poignant, creative sounds, L is lumen and lux. It's all about light. But it's at one time it's internal light, and at another time it's radiating light. And Ra is the same, At one time he's external, and other times he is internal light. But their main archetypes are Ra is radiating, and L is illuminating, you see. So they are different kinds of light. Ra is the ram, and L is the lamb. There's the ram and the lamb, according to Lawrence William Lyons, the writer of the book.
Yeah.
And lamb is in Capricorn, earth. And ram is in Aries, fire. We're talking about carbon and nitrogen. We're talking about the sheep and the goats. We're talking about the ram and the lamb. And this is how it works. If you're looking at your chakra system, lamb is at the bottom. It's the earth chakra. Van is the water chakra.